everybody, I am just going to do a quick video to show some advice on how to cut when using a cutting chart. So this piece I'm going to cut first is about 7.5 inches by 4.5 inches. First I need to make sure the material I'm cutting on has nice straight edges. So if you look at this piece of interfacing, is what I'm cutting right now, on my cutting mat, it's got a nice straight edge along here. It lines up nicely with one of the lines on my cutting mat. But this side over here does not have a straight edge yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my rulers and I'm going to line up just one of the lines on my ruler with this bottom edge that I already know to be straight. And then you can see that this sticks out on the side, and I'm just going to go ahead and trim that. So now I have two nice straight edges that form a right angle with each other, and since I'm just cutting a rectangle, that's exactly what I'm going to need. So now I again am measuring out a piece that is 7.5 by 4.5 inches. So I'm going to take my ruler. I love rulers. I have quite a few of them. So this is one of my bigger ones that is 24.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I use this one a lot for cutting pattern pieces. I've got a smaller one here. This is 2.5 inches by 12.5 inches. And I have others as well. So if you have multiple rulers, it's great to kind of fit it to whatever you're cutting. This ruler here is actually probably what I would normally pick to measure or to cut this piece, because it's actually a 4.5 inch wide ruler. But I'm going to show you with both of these because not everybody's going to have quite as many rulers as I do. So if I line up this bottom edge of the ruler with the bottom edge of my interfacing, this ruler is 4.5 inches, which makes this really easy to make sure this is going to be perfectly correct. It's 4.5 inches wide is the piece I'm measuring, and 4.5 inches wide is the size of the ruler, so it works out really nicely. So 4.5 inches is my width across here, and then I'm going to look at 7 and then and a half, 7.5 inches, 7 4/8, however you want to say that, is lining up along here. And I want to make sure that these tick marks here that each mark the 1/2 inch are going to line up correctly. Now normally I would just go ahead and I would cut this with my rotary cutter going along this edge and along this edge. But you're not necessarily going to have a ruler that works out quite that nicely. So I want to also show you with another ruler. So this is a bigger ruler that I have. This one is my 24.5 inch ruler, but it's still going to work just fine. So I'm going to find 7.5 inches. Using this side of the ruler, it actually has a 1/2 inch on the end. So this black dot here marks 7.5. Again, I want to make sure I'm lined up with each of these tick marks or across that line in this case. And then 4.5 inches is the width, so go from this side over and 4.5 inches that way. So 4.5 inches by 7.5 inches. So even though this ruler is bigger than I need, I still know that that is going to be the right measurements for this piece. And I'm going to cut one side and up the other side. Just make sure that your ruler doesn't slip when you're doing it. It's really great if you have the rulers that have a little bit of grippiness on the bottom. This is a Creative Grids ruler, so they have those grippies on them, and then you can also buy little grippy stickers to stick to the bottom of rulers that don't have that. So there you go. That is 7.5 by 4.5 inches, and I just did that cutting with my ruler.